The Tuesday it arrived was not a remarkable Tuesday. I had a call at 9 with a logistics company in Bristol that was considering a restructure. I had invoiced 2 clients the day before and was waiting on one response. I was drinking the second coffee of the morning and working through a backlog of emails with the particular focused boredom of administrative work that is nobody's favorite part of running their own practice and everybody's necessary one. The email from Philip Hartwell arrived at 9:47 while I was in the middle of drafting something unrelated. The subject line was straightforward: partnership discussion, Meridian Group. The tone was warm and specific in the way that genuinely prepared people are warm and specific, not the warmth of a template, but of someone who had done their reading. He referenced my background in operational consulting. He referenced 3 client sectors by name. He said he had reviewed the firm's capabilities and was particularly interested in my involvement given my track record with mid-market transitions. He assumed, completely and reasonably, that I still worked there. I read the email once and felt something I didn't immediately have a word for, not anger, something more disorienting, the specific unease of encountering your own name in a context you did not authorize. I read it again, more slowly, paying attention to the details. Active client relationships, a methodology described as mine in present tense. The words your colleague used to describe someone who had in fact been my colleague until 18 months ago and was now simply a person I occasionally heard about through mutual contacts. I read it a third time. By then I understood what I was going to do. I had resigned from the firm on a Wednesday in March, 19 months prior. The resignation had been professional in the way that resignations are professional when both parties understand that the cordiality is structural rather than emotional. I gave 8 weeks' notice. I transitioned my clients thoroughly because the clients were people I respected and the thoroughness was for them, not for the firm. I returned the laptop. I cleared the desk. What I had spent 6 years building there was a specific kind of trust, the kind that takes a long time to develop with the particular people who are difficult to develop it with. Mid-market family businesses in transition, founders who didn't trust consultants on principle until they did. I had the client relationships listed in Philip Hartwell's email because I had earned them slowly, in conference rooms and plant floors and difficult conversations that had nothing to do with the firm's branding. The firm had understood this. I knew they had understood it because in the weeks before I left, 2 different partners had suggested in 2 different ways that my departure would be difficult to explain to certain clients. I had suggested they explain it honestly. Apparently, 18 months later, they had found a third option. I opened a new email. I addressed it to Philip Hartwell. I did not draft it more than once. I thanked him for his thoughtful outreach and told him I had read his email with genuine interest. I informed him with appropriate regret that I had not been affiliated with the firm for approximately 18 months, having resigned in March of the prior year to establish my own consultancy. I told him I was sorry to learn that my biography and client history had been represented as current in their materials, as this was not something I had been made aware of or had authorized. I said I hoped the clarification was useful to him as he considered his options. I wished him well. I signed it with my name, my title, and the name of my consultancy. I did not copy anyone at the old firm. I did not call anyone. I did not send a separate email to my former colleagues announcing what I had done. I simply sent the reply to the man who had written to me because he was the person who deserved an accurate answer, and then I closed the draft window. The whole thing took 11 minutes. Philip Hartwell replied at 11:14, 4 sentences. He thanked me for the clarification. He said he appreciated my transparency. He said the information was helpful as he moved forward. The tone was the tone of a man who was now in the middle of a different conversation with different people, measured, courteous, and no longer particularly interested in the firm that had sent him the deck. I did not hear from anyone at my former company that day. I had their contact information. They had mine. The silence was not surprising. It was, in its way, the most informative response available. What I keep returning to in the weeks since is not the satisfaction of it, though I will be honest and say there was some, small and clean, and not something I'm ashamed of. What I keep returning to is the particular quality of writing that email from this address with this name on it, representing this practice that I had built from a standing start in 18 months with no inherited client list and no firm name behind me. They had borrowed my name because it still carried weight. I had not known, until I saw it used without my permission, exactly how certain I had become that the weight was mine and not the firm's. That was the thing the email gave me that I hadn't expected to receive on an ordinary Tuesday. I had a call at noon, a new client, a small manufacturing company with a second-generation ownership problem that was going to require patience and careful thinking, and exactly the kind of work I had left to do on my own terms. I made tea. I reviewed my notes. I picked up the phone when it rang. The day continued in the direction I had chosen for it. That was enough. That was, in fact, the whole point.